I think it's really, really cool to be able to look back on your life and kind of see what it is that made you who you are. I would wear like ballet clothes every day when I was 4, and I was probably the youngest person at my school to start wearing makeup. But then I switched schools and I got like into this like totally new environment where there was this like focus on the way girls looked. Basically the goal of my life, or like my everyday life, became like, how do I become the hottest girl possible? How do I get the most amount of affirmation? So toxic, so insecure, so terrible, but that was my life. If there was another girl who was getting more attention than me, or like the guys thought that she was the hot girl, it was like this alarm went off in me. Because like, imagine you think that your entire identity, like everything you are, is the way you look. When that is threatened, and that's a very thin thread, by the way, like when that is threatened, I felt like my whole world was like collapsing. My whole identity, everything that I was like disappearing because this other girl got more attention than me, you know. And that kind of kept on going for a couple of years. And then I went to boarding school. That was like a huge shock for me because it was like a culture change. I came to this boarding school and I kind of found out that the guys liked the girls who were just themselves. My whole world is collapsing. Like, what do I do? They don't fall for my tricks anymore, you know. And I was forced to find the other things that like made me, like the other things that made me special, the other things that made me attractive, loving, and capable. And then we went on this missionary trip. So we went to South America and we went there for 8 weeks, and I couldn't like wear makeup. So that was like stripping away everything that I thought was me, like the makeup, the clothes, everything. And I was like, like, how am I special now, you know? And then we went to visit this like burn center, which is like this sort of hospital for young kids and babies in Bolivia, which is where we were at the time, that kind of suffered really bad burns on their bodies. And I got to go in to see like really young kids, and there was this girl who had suffered like really bad burns all over her body, so she couldn't like touch it. She had to be strapped back in order for the wounds not to get worse. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to see because she was in so much pain. But I remember we were like singing to her and like holding her hand, and I looked into her eyes and I saw her. You know, even though her entire body was full of burns, I looked into her eyes and I saw who she was. And it was like God was trying to tell me like what a beautiful girl she was, and I was like crying so much. And I felt like God was trying to tell me that that was how I was seen. It didn't matter how burnt I was in the face, because I had gotten a really bad sunburn. It didn't matter if I was wearing makeup or not. It was about my heart and my soul and what I could do. That changed my life. This whole experience changed my life, and I came home again and I felt like a completely new person, and I started to like go on this journey of like true self-love, like really believing that I'm so much more than the way I look, and that actually literally that doesn't mean anything at all. I really started like a journey. I cut off a bunch of toxic behavior in my life, a bunch of toxic people. Like the gradual kind of like growth of the way I was styling myself was like a visual representation of the growth that was happening inside of me. I cut my hair and I dyed it blue. which was super important to me because I had like long bleach blonde hair for like 3-4 years, and that was a huge part of what I thought my identity was. I got really confident in who I am, what I deserve, what I don't deserve. Focus on your heart, how you look at yourself. If you don't love yourself, learn to love yourself. I think there's so much value in remembering the child that you were. I like to remember her because she wasn't affected by all of these pressures. She wasn't affected by movies telling her to be a certain girl. She was kind of just living her best life.